In November 2008, an anonymous person or group using the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto posted a research paper to a cryptography listserv. The research paper described Satoshi's designs for a new cryptocurrency that they were calling Bitcoin. Because it was created using cryptography, Bitcoin would be untraceable and not under the control of any government or bank. So, obviously, when Bitcoin was launched in 2009, there were two different kinds of reactions to it. On the one hand, there were people that believed that Bitcoin and whatever it represented was doomed to fail. You see, because Bitcoin is not under the control of any government or bank, it doesn't have inherent value. Its value is basically determined by how many people use it, or plainly speaking, by hype. So, many people did not see Bitcoin lasting beyond just a couple of years. On the other hand, there were people that were excited about a currency that had no ties to any government. First off, because it wasn't owned by any government or bank, it would make a great hedge against inflation. Kinda like gold. The hope was that the price of Bitcoin would continue to hold up even when countries were falling prey to their economic issues. There was also the fact that Bitcoin would make it easier to transfer money across borders. Now, 14 years later, and the story is more complicated than any of those two groups thought it would be.
We're in a different era. Get over it. Whoa!
Bitcoin has lasted a lot longer than the first group thought it would, and has even seen the creation of hundreds of other cryptocurrencies, including subsects of them like stablecoins and meme coins. In fact, Bitcoin has been getting some interesting use cases, being accepted as a payment method by some big companies including Shopify and Microsoft. However, Bitcoin hasn't exactly been the inflation hedge that the second group thought it would be. Sure, it's allowed people to send funds easily and quickly across borders, and has also allowed for many illegal transactions because of its untraceability.
What did you just say?
That second part is a completely different video, but as far as inflation hedging goes, Bitcoin has not exactly met many people's expectations, even though in theory, it should be the perfect inflation hedge. In fact, one of the things that Bitcoin, and practically the entire crypto market, has most excelled at is being widely unstable or volatile. And the reason for its wild volatility is the lack of control. That pesky little thing that not being backed by any government or central bank has resulted in more issues than many crypto supporters are willing to acknowledge. So, as you probably already know, supply and demand influence the prices of basically every commodity, including fiat money and cryptocurrency. More supply would result in a lower price, and more demand would result in a higher price. You probably understand this, so there's no need to get into it. But the difference between fiat money and crypto is that fiat money has the government to regulate the price when it gets too high or too low. Crypto has nobody and nothing. So if the market decides that they love crypto today, the price goes up drastically, and if they decide that they hate it, the price drops dramatically. Every Bitcoin and crypto holder understands this at some level, even though some decide to bury it deep down somewhere. However, most hope that when the pendulum swings to the side of gains, they will make enough money to forget how things were when prices were low. Unfortunately, the volatility is the reason many people are still unwilling to get into crypto, and if many people don't get into crypto, crypto would eventually die. Because of its wild volatility, owning Bitcoin feels more like a gamble. And because of that, you have no idea when you should jump ship and run, or whether this is the best time to buy the dip. This is the issue that many Bitcoin holders are currently battling with. They've bought the dip so much that they've dug themselves a hole. Bitcoin's all-time high of $69,000 per coin was way back in 2021. Since then, it has struggled to break even half of that, even dropping as low as $16,000 in November of 2022. And it doesn't look like it will be heading in the direction of its all-time high anytime soon. For a currency that was supposed to be the perfect alternative for fiat currency and serve as a hedge against inflation, inflation is the reason Bitcoin has had a hard time finding itself for a while now. Many economies around the world have been struggling economically. Some of it is because many businesses are still struggling to recover from the effects of the global pandemic. And then there is the war in Ukraine that has affected the supply of a number of products, including oil and oil products, fertilizers, grains, and coal. This shortened supply has resulted in a hike in food prices and energy prices as well. To make things better for their citizens, different governments have been instituting different measures. For instance, the United States Federal Reserve has been increasing interest rates periodically to reduce the amount of money in circulation. In addition to increasing interest rates, the Fed has also been reducing the size of its balance sheet to combat inflation, which has also reduced the amount of money in circulation. As a result, people are now more careful about the investments that they make.
I'm scared!
Money is tight for everyone. It's difficult to come by, but very easy to spend considering that everything is expensive. So, many people are making the wise decision to stay away from investments that they consider risky, like, well, Bitcoin. And if you're wondering why Bitcoin is considered risky, you've not been paying attention to this video. Because of this, a currency that was supposed to protect people against inflation because it doesn't have a nationality is now a victim of the very same issue. It's kinda crazy if you think about it. In the midst of all this, Bitcoin alongside other cryptocurrencies might be about to lose the very thing that makes it desirable to die-hard crypto lovers. If you've been paying any kind of attention to the crypto market, you might have heard about all the scams and crashes that have happened. Exchanges and wallets have been targets of cyber attacks and hacking attempts, resulting in significant losses for users and exchanges alike. And those attacks have taken a hit on people's trust in the crypto market, trust that was already on the decline anyway. Aside from the cyber attacks, there have been instances of actual financial corruption with crypto exchanges and companies. I won't dive deep into that mess in this video, but it has to be mentioned that even Binance, the biggest crypto company in the world, has been flagged by the SEC for some kind of financial corruption. As a result of all the financial infidelity issues, more national governments are considering introducing regulations for cryptocurrency. Of course, these governments might have ulterior motives for wanting to introduce regulations. But the story that they are selling, which could be true, is that they're trying to protect the interests of the crypto investors. Introducing a legal framework for how cryptocurrencies can be transferred could mean fewer crashes and fold-ups, because crypto companies would have to go through rigorous processes to get approved to function. However, you can see how this government oversight would be worrying for certain kinds of people, and not just the people that are using Bitcoin to pay for their nefarious activities. Some investors have even pulled out their investments because of the uncertainty that they believe comes with the government wanting to regulate crypto, and this has just contributed to the whole issue with Bitcoin currently. Because we're exploring what's really happening with Bitcoin, I guess it makes sense mentioning how unsafe Bitcoin is for the environment. I didn't know how to connect it with all that's been mentioned, but it fits the theme, so here it is. You probably know that creating Bitcoin is referred to as mining, and that mining involves solving complex mathematical puzzles. This could have been chalked up to a nerdy thing if all of that calculation did not require vast amounts of computational power and electricity consumption. As a result, Bitcoin mining has a substantial carbon footprint, and at least the section of the world's population that is concerned about the planet refuses to get into Bitcoin for that reason. What's more, the increasing awareness of climate change and sustainable practices has led some investors and companies to rethink their involvement with Bitcoin, fearing reputational damage due to its perceived negative impact on the environment. So yeah, there are a number of things happening with Bitcoin right now, and you get to have your pick, I guess. However, it's actually not that bad. There are actually some bright spots. For instance, Bitcoin has gone mainstream. Many businesses currently accept crypto payments, most of them via a crypto debit card, which goes to show that many believe in its relevance and permanence. Tesla would have been a big feather on the cap for Bitcoin if it kept Bitcoin as a payment option, but Musk mentioned that he had issues with the way that the coin is mined. Apparently, Bitcoin mining is not environmentally friendly. Meanwhile, other tech companies like Microsoft, Newegg, and AT&T have no issues with this and accept Bitcoin payments on their website. And things are set to get even better as BlackRock and Fidelity look to venture into the crypto market. If you know anything about capitalism, you know that BlackRock is the big company's big company. BlackRock provides financial services to some of the biggest players in the game, including Apple, Amazon, and Meta. So the fact that it's applied for Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, ETFs, has to mean that there is merit to Bitcoin. BlackRock would not be considering dipping its toe into the Bitcoin market if it was nothing more than a joke. Right now, Bitcoin might still be far from its all-time high, but there has been significant improvements from where it was at the beginning of the year. It's currently trading at around $30,000, which is more than 70% from where it was in January. So maybe what's happening with Bitcoin is that it's growing, but you should tell us what you think in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video.